Do you have big dreams? Small dreams? Dreams of a liberal world order where trade flows free like the non-microplastic rivers of your grandparents and weddings are drone-striked democratically. Maybe dreams of a true classless society free of wage labor where we, the workers, own all means of capital. Or perhaps you have other dreams. Dreams of stylish uniforms, endless autobahns stretching from across the entirety of Europe. Dreams of... Regardless of your dreams, I promise you it can be fulfilled in HOI4, insofar that dream consists of you looking at a world map for 1500 hours, while the pretty colors occasionally change. Furthermore, you may have to purchase some of Paradox's excellent DLCs and install a few mods here and there. I truly believe that HOI4 is the perfect modern role-playing game for the perfect modern gentleman. Throughout the years, I have grown tired of actual industry RPGs promising the world, if not the universe in its entirety, in how groundbreaking and game-changing your choices throughout will be, but in fact, deciding which blue alien you would like to copulate with ended up being the only meaningful choice. You want your choices, your roleplay, to change and shape the narrative of the game world, and if cover-based action RPG number 100 doesn't allow that, then we must literally change the world itself. In a video game. Here in HOI4, we can truly build a utopian world. Now, what is roleplay? Well, you have a role and you play it. And what is HOI4? A massive fucking time sink for one, but also a 2016 grand strategy wargame focused on the pre-war and war of a particular German Reichskanzler's making. You might be asking yourself, how can a strategy game revolving an Austrian painter in any measurable way scratch the same itch a true blood RPG does? And if you're German, you might be asking yourself why a Spezialeinsatzkommando vehicle just rolled up on your address. Entschuldigung, Junge. In HOI4, you control a country in its entirety. Everything from industry to the particular makeup of your army divisions, and even down to the tiniest details of the tanks, planes, and warships in your forces. You are in control of the complete macro level of your nation, including what to produce, who to declare war on, and which alliances to join, as well as micromanage your armed forces at every level. Most importantly is the national focus tree, representing policy projects of your nation. It is here where the game's foundation for an actual role-playing experience grows. You can broadly follow whichever country you choose to place national policies of the time, but better, or choose to forge completely ahead on an alternate timeline. For sure, if you play multiplayer, the LARP aspect is fairly evident. You and another player engaging in real-life diplomacy, brinksmanship, and saber-rattling against each other is as tried and true as Gmod role-playing servers. Someone playing as Germany and someone as the Soviet Union might negotiate additional stipulations before partitioning Poland. Lithuania and Czechoslovakia might negotiate a tentative alliance, equipment licenses, and future territory division before partitioning Poland, and the United Kingdom and France, already joined in holy military matrimony, might probably discuss proper division of labor and even plans of preemptive invasions before betraying Poland to be partitioned. But for single player, this is obviously quite different. The AI will either follow the broad historic strokes of the Second World War, obviously greatly simplified and gamified for her pleasure, follow completely random national focuses and launch the world into absolute chaos, or follow whichever national focus tree you specify in the pre-game options. For the AI, the national focus tree is the central storytelling device. Now, HOI4 is first and foremost a strategy game, meaning that meta-strats, abusing idiotic AI decisions, and broken game mechanics are absolutely on the menu, especially for achievement hunting. This is a given, but your roleplay in single player should be to reject the meta. Power fantasies, world conquest, and invading Greece are obviously the first steps of any nascent HOI4 player. Go ahead, Özgür, get it out of your system. I do regret to inform you, however, that Turkey needs a tiny overhaul all. The focus tree is massive and pretty interesting, but it takes way too long to go through and get to the good stuff. 70-day focus time on everything is... However, the point after your first 6 or 7 world conquests, but before joining the Discord servers and putting on the programming socks, should be the RPG approach. Your own national focus tree should be your roleplay character sheet, and the nation itself the player character. Research, focus tree specs and divisions shouldn't be strictly meta, but should foreground your role-playing. In short, treat the nation you're playing as if it was a character in a game with genuine thematic goals, strengths and weaknesses. Reject the optimal and the optimization and ask yourself what scenarios would make sense for the nation you're trying to inhabit, as well as which pitfalls could exist. Light tanks, heavy tank destroyers and field hospitals might not be meta by any means in HOI4, but in the real world, plenty of nations made plenty of pre-war doctrine, armament development and production mistakes. If the 188-ton Panzerate Maus super heavy tank can pop into existence in a world where real-life Germany faced a mobile combined arms war wherein they lacked air superiority, their production capabilities were massively strained, and they were running out of oil and petroleum, then my Renault Krautgorilla Charles is absolutely a credible development for a French army staff potentially scarred by German flamethrowers on the Western Front in World War I. Also, we had to nuke London for reasons. One of my favorite RPG character sheet systems are the ones where you have to choose both your positive traits and negative traits, forced to balance powerful bonuses with significant drawbacks. Apply the same system for your HOI4 scenario. For the Third Reich, you could for instance just follow der Führer's historic neurotic insistence on larger and larger tanks. Medium tanks are the meta in HOI4, and constantly shifting production lines absolutely wrecks efficiency. Well, it's tut mir leid, Herr Speer, but Alfie just sent down a diktat to put Tiger Free, their god Tiger, into production, so get at it. Strained production of fundamental infantry equipment? Deploy their Jagd-Eisbar. No oil or petroleum for fuel? Well, fucking find some, Hans. To that point, set up your scenario with a specific goal in mind. For example, as France, go Bonapartist and conquer the same territories as your ancestor, setting up puppet nations where your former allies were, relying heavily on line artillery and SPGs. Use the national focus trees as inspiration for your end scenario or for your starting scenario. If you know you're throwing in with an already powerful faction, have a neutral country join the opposing faction to spice up the gameplay. There is a beautiful German proverb that goes, "Selbst ist der Mann." What does this mean? I don't know. I don't conversate with Germans on principle unless they're large doormen dragging me out of the bar after my 8th shot of Kümmel. But in short, make your own fun. Hearts of Iron 4 truly presents a veritable gameplay smorgasbord of different playstyles, goals and challenges. But can't I just create my own fun then? If the game is just an unstructured sandbox, maybe I can just have as much fun in my garden with a stick and my imagination, or on a futon with a phone in my face, gently keeping my own thoughts well clear of my brain. Hearts of Iron 4 doesn't provide the narrative or thematics or a girlfriend, but it does provide the anatomy for your story. What type of anatomy, you say? The folktale one. Let me prove that historical matters, in fact, can be as enchanting as a fairy tale. Be aware, using the monomyth model as a lens for geopolitics is tried and true methodology in such higher educational institutions as Oxford, Cambridge, and Unity Point Health, Des Moines School of Radiologic Technology. Let's look at the classic hero's journey. Now, who's our intrepid hero? Well, of course, the bigger the better. The ordinary world. Corn farms stretch as far as the eye can see. Great depressions, banking crises, put squarely in the rearview mirror of your Ford Model 48 as any notion or idea of foreign baguette wars feel like nothing more but a distant bad dream. Then dark clouds roll in from the Pacific and the Atlantic. Shadowy forces, dark forces, shatter the peace, and cries for help from the old world bust the hotline night and day. Really, Europe's old grudges, the Far East, no foreign entanglements. Then an undeniable push out of the door, and probably a top 3 bad mornings in American history. The ordinary world, isolated and non-interventionist, is left squarely behind. Tests, trials, and tribulations follow. Industrial ramp-up, drafts, the Battle of Kaiserreich Pass, nationwide rationing. The Axis as the definitive shadow, each with their own archetype. Germany, the relentless tactician powered by immense industries. Japan, the frenzied fanatic with no care for its own well-being in the face of the enemy. Italy. But the tide turns. The arsenal of democracy is fully torqued, and the life or death battles begin from the beaches of Normandy to the Battle of the Bulge and the disaster in Monte Cassino. Let me waffle a little bit here. I know this isn't algo maxing, but the battle for Monte Cassino is some insane reading. I have the book on the 4 battles of Cassino by John Ellis, and a quote here from after the first battle. They were infantrymen returning to a bivouac area for rest, and I knew from the divisional emblem on their sleeves that those men had been up in the mountains around Cassino. I thought I had never seen such tired faces. It was more than the stubble of beard that told the story. It was the blank, staring eyes. The men were so tired that it was like a living death. They had come from such a depth of weariness that I wondered if they would ever be able quite to make the return to the lives and thoughts they had known. The morale of the division was considered excellent. Then, VE Day, survival of democracy, global hegemony, Marshall plans, occupations, yada yada. I'll be honest, by the time you finish with the ordeal stage and divvy up the world between you and your allies, you'll be ready to launch your next game. Oh, and don't forget to install player-led peace conferences. The post-war AI is stupid as hell, and it will ruin your beautiful borders with impunity. Need more flavor? Why not avail yourself of the many large language models available for free on the internet. Have the model cook you up some lore, some world building, some drama, if your own mind has been sufficiently atrophied by a steady stream of Mafia City or Chief Almighty ads. We are truly living in the 22nd century, and I can't wait for the superior, all-knowing models to become our overlords. Anyway, enough tongue-wagging. Why don't I show you exactly what an average US roleplay playthrough looks like? And yes, feel free to use my video as reference for your next history assignment. I promise you it is 100% true to history. Alternatively, you could just install Kaiserreich. Kaiserreich is like really good. Alright, that was a video. Like, subscribe, throw a comment down below. Which is your favorite HOI4 nation or mod? I gotta go boring and say Road to 56 and either Turkey, Brazil or Argentina and just do my own thing. Support links down below, Patreon and all that jazz. Next video, I wanna go real old school with a childhood game and try out a shorter format video for the laughs and giggles and all that. Check out my other cromulent videos and I'll see you next time.